Joe, is Will Scotton a massive part of your plans?
Well, he's massive, isn't he? He's standing amongst those kids here at Stanmore. He's an impressive looking physical athlete. And so the thing with Will, he's well known to the players. He's very much an established part of the team. He was with us on the spring tour last year. So for him to slot back in is pretty easy. And he was back in Sydney at this time anyway. So it all dovetailed relatively well for us to get Will involved.
So with you guys, Nick Champion, correct me, when did he emerge on the radar? What is his point of difference in the squad?
Nick's probably his point of difference is his versatility, first and foremost. He plays 6, 7, 8. So having that across a back row is important. I think his ability to stop ball carriers in their tracks is impressive. He's a pretty accurate line-out target as well. He's got a good fast jump. And from what the feedback we got from the force all year is that he was a real galvaniser of action for them, a real glue in their squad. And so they're all attributes we're looking for with the Wallabies.
He's one of several guys who's going to stay with the force for that game next Saturday. How do you find sort of weighing up allowing those players to stay and guys like Carlo, Harry Potter to just be in camp with them?
Yeah, it's a complicated matrix, and I've never had to quite do it like that before. You know, you can't wait to get your crew into camp and start working in a really shared collective manner. But for guys to have the chance to play the Wallabies and to have teams that we believe are going to be as competitive as they can be, I think it was really important to be able to leave some guys there. They'll still get a full week with us before we play Fiji. So I don't think it will be too detrimental to us, and I think the positives for the Western Force outweigh anything that's detrimental for us trying to get our team together. Not only that, it gives us a little bit of an opportunity to just broaden the group a little bit. Great to have some other players coming in to train with us.
James O'Connor not in the squad, was he seriously considered?
Yeah, spoke to James today, and he just finished training today. He's got a big game coming up this Saturday, obviously, and his experience, his skill set, a little bit of versatility I've talked about before in that 10-12 channel. All those things were positive. And there are other guys that have been ongoing conversations, the likes of Bernard Foley and Samu Karevi, Marika Corambetti. They're all real, not just quality players, but quality contributors to an environment. So I've said it before about player coaching. I've seen player-to-player coaching as an incredibly powerful way to prepare players to play with the experience they bring. At the same time, we've invested in 3 guys in that 10 spot, and we felt trying to balance things up. We're going to keep investing in those guys, and what I like about those players is they were investing in themselves really well in our environment last year. I think we saw all 3 of them make improvements to their game, increase their own confidence to drive the game and to communicate the game to other players. So, we didn't want to interrupt that. Yeah, I'm not saying we got it right. I'm just saying that's what we chose to do.
Joe, have you made a decision on the captaincy?
No, we haven't. Again, it will be about getting the squad together first and foremost, and checking full fitness. Some of the guys who led for us last year have got niggles or are coming back from injury and are only just back on deck. And do we want them to have shoulder the responsibility of leadership, or just focus on their own game and get as much of what they can deliver right in what they're doing? Or do we want them to lead the team and slightly dilute their own focus on their own game? That's the balance that we'll even talk to them about, to be honest, because it's a small group of guys who've led the team in the past, and we'll talk to them about how best we take that forward over the next 4 test matches, really.
Joe Gordon hasn't captained the team, but is he a realistic chance to captain?
Jake he's one of the 5 guys who we rely on through this super period as a leader. So he's one of those guys who we'll talk to. I guess one of the things Jake is conscious of is the competition for places and the guys in the squad who do compete for that. With Tate having had a very good season. Nathan, there are others like Whitey. Nick White is going to stay in Perth early on, so he's going to be otherwise focused for that first week. But then he's certainly one of the guys in the leadership group as well, so he'll contribute to how best we form the leadership group. I think captain is an incredibly important leader, and visibly he's a leader, but. One of the strengths that started to develop last year, I felt, was the leadership within the team, across the team, not just having one person as the hub for making decisions. That's never in reality the case anyway. Harry's not going to decide if we take a shot for goal, or Alan's not going to decide if we take a scrum or a line out. He's going to ask if it's, I don't know, if it's Jeremy Williams calling the line out, he's going to say, Jez, are we going to the line out? Or if it's Harry, he might say, Dono, Noah, whoever, are we taking a shot at goal here? Just because they share that responsibility. And the person who's taking responsibility for the next action, they have to be comfortable and committed to the action. So if Harry doesn't have to step up and whack that goal with his big left foot. It's one of the other boys, one of the 10s, or as I mentioned, Al, he's not going to have to throw that ball to the line out or call the line out to determine whether we take a 5-metre scrum or we look to maul a 5-metre line out. So the leadership of the team is something that's really pivotal to any high performance environment, and something that will be uppermost in our minds once we get the team together.
Taniela down on confidence. He was very open about that. Like, what sort of conversations have you had with Taniela, and how I guess ready do you think he is for a series of this magnitude?
Yeah, I wish I could answer that. Readiness is something that you don't really get a full feel for until you've had a week or so with the players. We're on a very tight time frame. We play Fiji in 2 weeks. That's going to happen very, very quickly. So the time that we have together, a few days in Sydney and then shifting to Newcastle, that's going to go very quickly. We're going to try to ascertain what Taniela's mindset is once he's in the environment. Had a good couple of conversations with Nella in the last week or so, and but we're confident that he's desperate to be there. He is desperate to be there, and beyond that, he's desperate to play well. So that's a good starting point.
You finally got to look at the Lions team sheet, which I'm sure you'd be poring over. I don't know how much that will play into test calculations, but what do you see on that team sheet in the centre pairing in particular? They've gone with some power there.
Yeah, the Southern Hemisphere centre partnership will be pretty formidable, I think. Obviously, I coached Bundy for a lot of years and know him really well. Respect him massively as a player and a great contributor to the team environment. And Sione, I've only had glancing conversations with, but again, by all accounts, a champion bloke. You don't get to be captain of a national team without being a great bloke and a really professional sort of high performance athlete. So those two together, that'll be really interesting. I think probably what was most disconcerting in looking at that was the comments from Andy Farrell at the end saying, we'll have everyone back fit within the next week. Because I wouldn't have minded if a couple of those guys were missing that I know quite well. To be honest, they're pretty good players. I see Tyg Furlong on the bench. So I haven't seen Tyg play for a while, and I know the quality of player and person he is. So, look, I think it's fantastic for the series, to be honest. We want the best over here to try to get the best out of ourselves and to get the best support from the public and how we try to match up to them.
You've got a couple of blokes yourself who are under an injury cloud, like Max and also Joseph Swiley. You're confident both of them will be fit to play the highest level of rugby there is?
Yeah, I did some individual coaching with them a couple of weeks ago, and on top of that, I've seen them in the hub last week, and they're both. Wow, they're very close to 100% right here, right now. 2 weeks' time, that's plenty of time for us to have them ready to go, and I just know how excited they are to be getting close to putting their boots back on, and particularly at the level where it's it's Wallabies, Fiji first, and then a big series post that.
Joe, you mentioned the importance of continuity earlier. Was that your touchstone when you were selecting squatters to lean to guys that had been with you last year? And second part to that question is the other fellow who's come in is Corey Toole, obviously. So, just your thoughts on him as well. Yeah,
it was an anchoring point for us. We'd invested all that time, and those guys were investing time back, and so I think that's definitely part of it. Because I don't know globally, but I felt like we were making progress with the individuals building their game and being more confident, and then the collective becoming more competitive. So we wanted continuity there, albeit we haven't seen them since early January. And then Corey Toole spent TRC with us last year. He didn't get his test cap, but he was close to it. And I think another really good super season from him, putting his hand up. I think it was a fairly contested area. We had a number of guys who I felt did well in that three-quarter line. Obviously, some guys like Lockie Anderson, Tristan Riley, Matt Greeley. So right around the different places, Andy Muirhead, and his versatility of being able to play fullback. So looking right around the four super clubs, there were other guys in competition, but we feel like the guys that we invested in last year, getting Max back, I thought he started super really well. Harry Potter had some fantastic highlights in his season there, and Dylan Peets, he had a few injury issues, but did look good in the moments that he managed to string together during the season. And then, as you mentioned, Corey on top of that in those wing spots.
Joe, there's obviously been a bit of commentary in the British press about shielding the best test team and maybe keeping them separate from the provincial games. What's your response to that?
Yeah, I guess the response that counts is what Faz thinks about that, and the other coaches, but I can't see it happening personally. I think we will see the test combinations before we see the test match played. That would be my understanding of how they'll try to set up their game. I don't think they'll be looking to try to throw late combinations at us to get us off guard. I think they'll be trying to get on guard themselves. And that's a little bit the same for us in that we've got one test to build some combinations or to rebuild some combinations, and then we've got a 7-day lead-in after a few days off in between, just because with 15 tests coming up, we're not going to have the players in camp all throughout the start of the Fiji week through to the end of the Lions series. So yeah, it's congested for both groups, and I think we'll see some pretty good combinations. To be frank, I think it's going to be quite hard to pick that test team, because I think they've got such a depth and quality that that can be a headache for someone else. We'll just see who turns up, and then we'll try to do our best.
Just talk us through thinking around Lukan, Zeruru and Paenga Ramosa, guys that are coming back from injury. There are guys in the squad that have been picked coming back from injury, but those three haven't.
Yeah, so had a good chat with Lukan, BPA definitely, and Zeruru as well. They all had in and out sort of opportunities through Super Rugby. And then the difference with Matt Fessler having started 10 tests for us, we just kind of felt that we would get him in, but one of the options with Matt is that he only spends a week with us, just so that we check him out, see how he's going, and then he may go back and play that game for the Reds. So I don't think, yes, it's a 36-man squad, but there's a lot of interest from us in how those players perform for their super club against the Lions, and certainly with guys like Lucan who was in our squad throughout the season. There's a lot of interest in how he goes, how BPA goes. Suru probably got a little less time with us, but another guy would be a Josh Canham, for example, as a guy who finished the season with us and got in the squad to play in the TRC as well. Those guys are still very much in our thinking. It's just that in the current short term, we felt that it was really important to make a few decisions and to give a little bit of clarity to players, but also to tell them that clarity is probably conditional on performance as well.